Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. I'm gonna have to turn this. I guess it moved. I'm learning something
But
new
you
every
have
day.
to talk over the music.
Yeah, well,
Like they have like sensual, like your voice is sensual.
oh, I have to talk like this.
Like in the middle of the night and you play all the love jams.
This is Midnight Love with Dr. Boyce Watkins.
Yeah. Yeah, like
It's
that.
groovy, baby. What's going on, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. And I'm here with my lovely wife, Dr. Alicia Watkins, and I want to say hi to everybody. And since you guys know how we are with the technology, I just have to ask that first question: can you hear us okay? If you can hear us okay, let us know that you can hear us. That way we can we can move on. Michelle is here. Marshall is here, and eFlow's channel is here. Michelle Collins and Stephen Rains. Shout out the city. Let us know what city you're from. How you doing today, babe?
I'm doing well this morning. I'm getting used to back to school.
Yeah.
Waking up at the crack of dawn.
Those damn kids. How many of y'all got kids trying to go to school and we're supposed to educate these little
I get sleepy
SOBs?
now at night. I can't stay up all night anymore.
Kids are hard work.
I don't know, like one moment I think I'm killing it as a mom. And then the next moment everything falls apart.
Hmm. Yeah,
I'm
well,
like
I
the
think
worst
that's the
mom in
way
the
it
world.
is. Well, you sent me that funny meme where it said that they define the kids' emotions like hurricanes. They said we got a category 5 in the kitchen. Take some bottled water and shelter in place in the bedroom until the storm is over.
Man. Oh God, they wear me down, and they know. Oh my goodness, they know they wear me down.
Yeah.
And then it's like, how prey. Like I feel like I'm a prey, and they smell blood. They notice moments of weakness in me. They're like, she's tired. Let's just dive right on into the kill.
Yeah,
How I
it's
feel.
funny. It's like there's like a joy in having kids, but sometimes you wonder, like, is it overrated? I don't know. I don't know. It's so complex. And I'd say I love our kids, and I think it's really nice watching them grow up, and knowing that you did something for somebody else in your
Yeah, you
life.
claim all the good parts about them, and then when it's less than what you
Mm.
want them to be, you be like,
Like
I'm like, you
where'd
just
you
like your
learn that
dad.
shit?
You got that from your daddy. You got that from your dad's side of the family.
Taught you all that crap. I'm not taking responsibility for that other side of you. But anyway, what's going on, everybody? I see Mint Hill, North Carolina. Hey, Miss D, how are you? Let's see, Bradenton, Florida for Catherine. Dark is out of Atlanta, and let's see, this still feels weird like this happened yesterday. Yeah, so let's talk about the topic of the day. So, give me a yes or no. How many of you saw the big, massive, multi-million-dollar verdict in the Vanessa Bryant trial, where Kobe's widow wife, Vanessa, fought through her grief and went and sued a group of people, a group of I guess, firefighters and whatnot for sharing photos, unauthorized photos of that tragic plane crash where Kobe and Vanessa, or Kobe and his daughter Gianna passed away. And that was a big deal. The total verdict was 31 million. I believe Vanessa got 16 of it, and then the rest went to the other families, which is appropriate, right? Because Vanessa Bryant, I doubt that she did this for the money. Because I imagine they've got plenty of money already. I'm thinking she did it because it's just kind of painful. I mean, how disrespectful to take pictures of the mangled bodies of your deceased husband and daughter and share them with
And
other
share
people. It's
them.
crazy.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, did they share them for money? Did they get money from those photos? Or did
Mm.
they sell the photos?
That's a good point. I'll read some of the story. According to
Okay.
people.com, it says Vanessa Bryant and her co-plaintiff Chris Chester have been combined awarded $31 million by a Los Angeles jury. The final verdict was reached late Wednesday afternoon, with the jury finding Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department and Fire Department did share photos of the bodies of Bryant and Chris's loved ones, and in doing so invaded their privacy and caused emotional distress. The jury ordered the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department to pay Vanessa $10 million and to pay Chris a total of $9 million, while the LAFD, the fire department, is ordered to pay the pair $6 million each. So Vanessa gets 10 plus 6, Chris gets 9 plus 6, which is 15 million. The decision came down coincidentally on Kobe Bryant Day, aka Mamba Day, which is a day honoring the late Los Angeles Laker legend whose jersey numbers were 8 and 24. The emotional trial concluded just hours after Los Angeles County's legal team made its closing argument. Vanessa and Chris's lawyers did not speak outside of the court. Following the verdict, Myra Hashmal, partner at Miller Barondes law firm and the lead outside counsel for the county, thanked the jury for its hard work. Quote, while we disagree with the jury's findings as to the total county's liability, we believe the monetary awards showed that jurors didn't believe the evidence supported by the plaintiff's request for $75 million for emotional distress. We will be discussing next steps with our client, she said. Meanwhile, we hope the Bryant and Chester families continue to heal from their tragic loss. What do you think so far?
I'd like to know, because when there's an investigation, it seems like pictures are taken. So
Mhm.
maybe it was like they took it with their own phone, took their own
Mm.
pictures and shared them around, and maybe it got back to her. I mean, I'm wondering if she's thinking, "Wow, these pictures are just floating around on the internet, and I don't know if I'll discover it or if my check." She's got how many other children? She's got 2 other kids?
Yeah, I want to say they have one more. Maybe it's two
I
more.
think it's a daughter. I know it's another daughter for sure. I think that I don't remember offhand, but, maybe she just wants the photos deleted.
Oh, Kobe. Oh, shoot. Oof, Kobe has 4 kids.
Okay.
4
There's
kids.
3 other children.
Let's
Okay.
let's give some applause to parents that really pass on a legacy. So Kobe has 4 children. I think are they all girls? I believe they're all girls. Actually.
All
I'm sure
girls.
somebody in the chat knows it. The internet knows all things.
You know it all.
But yeah. So they have a great family. He left an awesome legacy, and it's really fascinating given what Kobe had to overcome. He had that whole crazy situation that happened. I want to say around 2004, 2005, and a lot of people can't come back from stuff like that. If you know what I mean, I'm not going to really dwell on it. But you remember, those crazy allegations and some of the, ridiculousness of that.
It seemed really ridiculous because it was just one person. It's not like, you know, if you really are a type of person where you can violate another person, you just don't do it once. You usually
Right.
have a history of something like that. So that seems to just be like a one-off anomaly, something.
Mhm.
And so it just makes you feel like, nah, he's cool. The lady was trying to
Yeah. Well.
profit. That she was trying to profit off of him, just like
Mhm.
people are trying to profit off his photos. But the Los Angeles Police Department and Fire Department, I mean, they have a history of being pretty corrupt. So,
Mm.
it just makes you wonder what information
Mhm.
she got hold of.
Well,
Um,
I'm sure they didn't. It wasn't comfortable for them to have such a high-profile lawsuit. And she came in and sued, and and she's a person that's got plenty of money and resources and fame and in the public sympathy, public support. I mean, the county's not going to get any support. So you almost wonder why it wasn't settled out of court. Because you almost wonder why they didn't just say,
the
"Okay,
trial,
we'll write you a check." I wonder who pushed it to trial. Like what happened?
well, they
That.
weren't able to come up with an agreement between the
Hmm.
two. Or she could just say, "You know what? Win or lose, it's not about the money. We're gonna take it to court so that we can show people that you need to respect people's privacy and people's family." And I mean, this is Los Angeles Fire and Los Angeles Police Department, right?
Hmm.
It seems like they are the first responders to any celebrity in Hollywood that has a tragic accident. So I would almost think that did they violate a company policy by taking personal photos and sharing them? Like
Yeah.
whoever did that, I hope that they got penalized in some way for that.
Let me read more. To you. I did read a little bit about how it got back to her and what happened.
Okay,
Basically, what
okay.
happened was I think at a bar, somebody literally said, "I got these pictures of Kobe," and they showed the picture.
They showed her the
And somebody
pictures.
saw them sharing the picture, from what I understand, and that person reported it to the authorities because they knew that you're not supposed to do that. They knew, and so I'm going to read some of this to you, and It says here that the emotional trial concluded just hours after Los Angeles County's legal team made its closing arguments. Vanessa and Chris's lawyers did not speak outside the court. Following the verdict, Myra Hashmal, partner at Miller Brando. Oh, I already said that. I already read that. Since it began in August 10th, the trial revealed harrowing details about the aftermath of the January 2020 helicopter crash that killed NBA legend and 13-year-old killed the NBA legend, 13-year-old Gianna Bryant, and 7 other people on board. Vanessa and Chris Chester, who tragically lost his wife Sarah and their 13-year-old daughter Peyton in the crash, sued Los Angeles County for emotional distress and mental anguish after learning members of the department had shared photos of the victims' remains. At the time of the crash, Kobe and Gianna were traveling to a youth basketball game with 7 others. Chris and Vanessa claimed photographs of the victims' bodies were publicly shared on at least 28 devices owned by the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. So they were passing this around. 28 devices.
Oh,
28 devices. Wow. That's
that's
crazy.
sick.
Yeah. And by more than a dozen first responders. And then check this out. So former bartender Victor Gutierrez was one of the first witnesses to testify in the weeks-long trial. Gutierrez told the courtroom on Thursday that shortly after the January 26, 2020 crash, he was approached by Sheriff's Deputy Trainee Joey Cruz during his bartending shift, who asked if Gutierrez wanted to see a photo of the victims' bodies. The jury also heard from Ralph Mendez Jr., a bar patron, who said he witnessed the interaction and then filed a formal complaint with the Sheriff's Department. So that's interesting. So he went and by the way, I hear somebody, Vince keeps mentioning the sound. Are we coming through okay? Vince,
No.
or Vince says that our sound's not coming through that good. So what do y'all think? Is the sound coming through okay? Can you all hear us okay? Give us a yes in the chat if you can hear us okay. I want to make sure the sound's coming through all right. Hello. I don't know why. Got this fancy equipment from
We
the
do
white
have
folks.
this fancy equipment.
Okay, let's see here. Sharonda says sounds terrible. Somebody says good. Somebody says it's muffled. Someone else says it isn't coming through very well. Okay.
I don't know what to do.
Okay, I know. I don't know what to say either. And then someone else is saying yes, they can hear it. Someone else says it's breaking up. That's weird. Why?
The internet? What internet? I have what, 3 internet
Okay.
connections here?
This is it's like I'm getting answers in and somebody says in and out. Somebody says it sounds like a walkie-talkie. That's surprising. It doesn't sound like that when you listen to the recording.
No, it doesn't.
What do you think is going on here? I can hear it, but it's breaking up. Oh,
I
don't know
do
what to
have
do.
some thoughts. I have some thoughts.
What are your thoughts?
I don't know.
You don't know what your thoughts are?
I know what they are, but I'm not gonna I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's
Well, you know
happening.
what? The show must go on.
Yeah.
We got to keep going. I don't know what to do. I'm literally looking at this thing. We're trying different things, and everything's plugged in properly, and everything is supposed to sound. She sounds good. You don't. Oh,
You
so
don't sound
yeah, let's
good?
check my microphone.
That's down.
Okay, so maybe I should sound loud. Maybe I should be louder.
You wanna be louder than me? That's fine.
No, but I don't want to. I don't want to make you. I don't want to make you sound bad. Okay. Well, somebody says it sounds. Or let's see. Lynn says it sounds like a walkie-talkie, but it's okay. So I guess I'll just be
Walkie-talkie? That's terrible.
Breaker 19.
We had better
That's a 10th floor, good
you
buddy.
have better sound on your phone.
I know it's crazy. Oh, somebody says it's
What?
better now. I turned my levels up. Maybe that's it.
You turn your sound up? Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Alright, well, let's move on.
All right. Boyce, the sound engineer. Anyway, okay. So here, let's keep reading. Let's get back to Kobe. All right. So here's what else the article says. This is according to people.com. The jury heard from Ralph Mendez Jr., a bar patron who said he witnessed the interaction and filed a formal complaint. While on the stand, the 40-year-old widow recalled visiting the Lost Hills Sheriff Station the morning of the accident and asking Sheriff Alex Villanueva to protect the Calabasas crash site from the paparazzi. Quote, "If you can't bring my babies back, can you please secure the area?" Vanessa recalled, telling Villanueva at the station. Just 3 days later, the photo sharing allegations amongst the first responders came to light in an article in the LA Times published February 27, 2020. Quote unquote, "I trusted them not to do these things," said Vanessa Bryant during the trial. Kobe's body was recovered on the day of the crash, while Gianna, a basketball player with the Mamba Sports Academy and dreams of playing in the WNBA, was found a day later in a ravine.
Oh,
In a moment that saw a wave of emotion wash across those in the courtroom, Vanessa accused emergency personnel who allegedly photographed and shared images of, quote, taking advantage of that her daddy wasn't there to protect her. He was at the morgue.
Oh,
Oof, wow.
oh. Mm,
What do you think?
I think it's awful. She had to relive this whole experience in this trial. She had to relive the whole thing. I
Mhm.
mean, it's gotta feel like she had to go through all of that all over again, all over again.
Yeah.
How terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, it's painful to sort of have to see somebody go through that, and, I mean, at the same time, we do, I think, have a little more sensitivity to celebrities. Like they say that black people are heavily influenced by celebrities, like more so than other groups, right? So
Mhm.
we tend to put celebrities on certain pedestals, and I'm not saying that that's wrong or right. It's up to you to decide that. But I was thinking about even with things like Brittany Griner. A lot of people have sympathy for Brittany Griner
Yes,
being locked up.
that's my friend, this locked up in Russia.
Right, right,
Like, I identify with her, how could I not?
right, and the thing is, people, right. So remember, it goes back to Joseph Stalin, his statement that he used to make, where he said, "One death is a tragedy; a million deaths is a statistic." And
Mhm.
what people brought up is that everybody has this sympathy for Brittany Griner, and they're saying we need to go do what we got to do, talk to Vladimir Putin, beg him to let Brittany out of prison, and no problem with that. But there are thousands of people in America in prison, and we don't have to ask Vladimir Putin to let those people out. And those individuals are also in prison on minor drug charges, but they're not famous. That's the
Yeah.
only difference in them and Britney. Minor drug charges. The only difference in them and Britney is one, they're not famous, and two, they you don't have to ask Vladimir Putin for permission to let them out. Like Biden could sign a piece of paper right now and let all those people out of jail. So
The thing is that I just wanna jump in and say, the thing is that, just as, Kobe Bryant and Gianna died tragically, there are a lot of other people that died tragically too.
mm,
And, I
good
don't
point.
I don't like the fact that I don't like the fact that we put one over another, but it still doesn't detract from the fact that, Brittany Griner being in prison for 10 years for what she's doing doesn't seem right, So, "Wait, what are you doing?"
I'm fixing your
Anyway,
levels. I'm helping you.
you're helping my levels, okay. So it still isn't right, so that's not I don't wanna diminish Kobe Bryant and the Bryant family and their pain. There's a lot of other people, who walking around grieving. A lot of people have lost their husband, lost their children, and but, to see that I know Kobe Bryant. You can't tell me I don't know him. I feel like I know him
Mhm.
and his children, and, so I do. I love that family, and to see that it just represents I'm talking about why it's so meaningful to us is that it just represents what it represents symbolically. So to disrespect Kobe Bryant and disrespect the life of Gianna is like disrespecting all black men and black little girls in my head. And I
Mm,
know it's subconscious, and I'm okay with that. But, to injustice for Brittany Griner is like an injustice for anybody. And so the
okay.
outrage is not just because they're celebrities, it's because I know them. You can't tell me I don't know them. And I mean, just like any celebrity goes down, psychologically, it's damaging. Look how beautiful that family was. Look how great um, they are together. Look at that picture. You can tell, that's what I looked up to. And so it's terrible. It's not worse than any other person. I know people in my personal life who's passed on tragically,
Mhm.
but we still don't want to see that happen. So I don't want to take away from Brittany Griner's pain or Vanessa Bryant's pain because they're celebrities.
Well, remember, by
Mhm.
giving so much attention to their pain, you are taking away from the pain of others,
I
though.
don't see it that
I
way.
think you are, right?
Why
I
does it
think
have to
no,
be
but
one or the other?
because it is, because we can't pay attention to everything at one time.
Of
We can't
course
we
not.
can't consume all the grief in the world at once, right? So what we tend to do, I think, is there is a little bit of a celebrity bias. I think that we internalize the experiences of celebrities and kind of don't really think much about the experiences of just so many other people that are going through situations that are 10 times worse, that don't have $100 million in the bank. That I think we should also kind of at least acknowledge, right? So you are right, though. I think we can acknowledge her pain and also acknowledge the pain of those other people.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
so, to me, like, so I think when you talk about Brittany Griner just going in that direction, so we're talking about celebrities and attention to celebrities. If Brittany doesn't get out, it's not the end of the world.
It's
That's
never the end of the
right.
world, but you don't want to see that. It's not like
We don't want to see anybody in jail. I mean, I know I just talked to a guy the other day who went away for 30 years. And when he got out, his son was a newborn when he went away. Now he did something that wasn't cool. He shot somebody at a club. A lot of black men get in these crazy situations at the club, and it drives me crazy. But his son was a newborn when he went away to jail, and so he gets out 30 years later. His son is a 31-year-old man who is dealing with the pain of not having his father at all.
tragic.
Right? And I think these stories also have to be told in addition to just the celebrity stories. That's my point.
Yeah, well, I wasn't saying that. I was saying that yes, it is just as important, but the reason why this gets headlines is because people know this family. Like
Mhm.
that's what it's part of when you're in this celebrity status. And look at her; she's got a good support system, and that's what's important for her. She's got two ladies, two of her friends right there by her side. I don't know who they are.
I don't know if this is. I
Um,
don't think this is the picture, but I think that she came to court with a couple, like a couple performers. One of them was like Monica.
Oh Monica was with her, I think, when she heard the news or something. I don't know. I think they have a history together. So
Mm.
they're friends, and that's what's good. It's nice to see that you can get your support system with you when you're going through something like this, because she knew she had to relive the whole experience again. And that's promising that look at her.
Mm.
Look at that.
Sad.
Yeah.
Well, by the way, everybody, you're watching Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. And if you want to follow us on social media on Instagram, you can follow us at Boyce and Alicia. And also, if you'd like to get on Alicia's database of Black singles, and as well as get free information, like you can get a free e-copy of my book, Financial Lovemaking. You can go to boyceandalicia.com. So go to boyceandalicia.com. You can have a free e-copy of the book. And also, if you are interested in things that relate to relationships or money, we are your people. Alicia is a licensed therapist and full professor of social work and a certified clinical trauma professional and all these other things. And I am a PhD in finance. So we would love to help you and help you for free. So feel free to go to boyceandalicia.com. Everybody needs money. Everybody needs love. We hope we can all agree. Can we all kind of agree on that? Can we agree that love and money matter? What do you think? Anyway, okay. So here's what. So let's talk about this, right? When I think about Kobe, I don't just think about the accident. I think that that's one incident that occurred in his life that was obviously the end of his life, and I think that he left a brilliant legacy. I think that he represented a lot of the values I respect in terms of just hard work and determination and everything else. And I watched his whole career. I watched Kobe from the time he was signed as a 17-year-old back in the
He was
90s
cold back
to
then.
this day. Yeah, and the thing was, I remember my opinion of him kind of evolving through time from like, okay, is this guy really going to be as good as they say he is, to like, wow, it looks like he could be, to wow, what happened to him and Shaq, or to wow, he got married at 22, 23 years old. That's going to be a problem. It's going to be going to be a lot of issues with that. And what I really find interesting is like how they made it. I remember, I kid you not, I remember when Kobe was like 22, 23, explaining why he got married when he was so young. And in fact, I think his parents had a big issue with it and stuff like that. Um, and I remember thinking to myself, "Oh, that's gonna be a problem." Because when you
It
got a
wasn't a problem.
no, it was a problem. When you got a 20
How was it a problem?
because when you have a 23-year-old with a pocket full of money who's trying to be a husband, if you think that if you don't think there's gonna be infidelity, you're out of your mind. And so
Really?
yeah, I mean, I don't see how a 23-year-old with a pocket full of money is going to be able to um have the discipline necessary to be a good husband and father. I just I and I and I
He
was told
grew up pretty fast,
right.
right? Because he was a world traveler, I almost think. 'Cause
Right. His
he
father was an NBA player, Jelly Bean Bryant.
Jelly Bean, okay.
Yep.
So, he traveled all around. My understanding is that he was world schooled, I wanna say.
Yeah.
He where did he live? He lived in Europe. He lived in, all parts of the country. So he had he was, I bet in those travels and having conversations with people and meeting a whole bunch of people around the world, I noticed that probably matured him, I
It
would think.
did, but
Mhm.
but here's the thing, and I like to think about the life of Kobe. I know that people are, want to just focus on one thing at a time. I see the whole picture, and I remember being really sad with that whole incident with that lady in Colorado. Not because I thought Kobe violated her. It didn't even make any sense, and there was no proof. I believe you need proof. So that in that regard, I felt a lot of sympathy for him. But at the same time, I was sitting there thinking, when I heard the details of this unprotected sex with this lady that you just met, who had sex with 2 or 3 dudes in the same week, that
Yeah.
to me was kind of like a reflection. It reminded me of the Tiger Woods thing when Tiger Woods was having unprotected sex with all these porn stars, and nobody really talks about that. Everybody acts
Well,
like it's
and
not
he
a
had an
big deal.
interesting history too. It
Right.
wasn't
Well, it's more so like
upbringing.
I think it's more so a product of the experience of being this mega celebrity that can have whatever you want. You've got literally so much money that you can walk into a building and buy the building with the money in your checking account. You have women that will do anything and everything you want them to do, no questions asked. I just think that puts you in the devil's workshop. I think that is a level of temptation that most men cannot, especially a 25-year-old who's already
Mhm.
full of testosterone and horny as hell. I just think that it just creates a chaotic situation. So if I'd been Kobe's dad or Tiger's dad, even if they're in their 20s, I would say, son, I don't know if marriage is really for you at this stage.
Well, I'm sure they told him that. I'm
Right.
certain that's what this says. But for whatever their past, she's a beautiful lady too. You don't know what's going on her side, but the thing is that they stayed together.
Mm, they did.
They really stayed together, and
Yeah.
there's so many. I'm thinking about LeBron James. I'm thinking about a whole bunch of other couples that seem like they made it.
Oh, I love some LeBron and what's the wife's name? Is it Sabrina?
I
I want to
always
say
mess her name
I
up.
keep wanting to say it's Sabrina, but I feel like I'm saying it wrong.
I always mess it up. I'm bad with names anyway, so I hope. But the thing is they seem to be
Savannah. It's not Sabrina.
I
For
always
some
call
reason,
her
the word
Sabrina.
Sabrina always comes to my mind too. It's not Sabrina. It's Savannah. Savannah James.
Like
Shout
Georgia.
out to Savannah James and LeBron for sticking it out. You're right. That is
They
impressive.
have, and so I mean, it'd be interesting to hear from them, from them about how they did it. They talk about their marriage a lot. He has really has great things to say about Savannah, and so I mean, I think it's possible. I'm not going to say it's impossible for a young man with a pocket full of money to just want to just go and whore himself out like that. But I think it's possible for them to have that discipline that you talked about. It's
Yeah.
possible. I mean, that's why I didn't date any athletes. Because
Oh, really?
I didn't
Is
want
that
to,
what it was? I'm
I didn't
really
want to
curious.
catch nothing.
I really want to ask you about that because I've known you a long time, and we were friends for many years, and I know you've had some interesting stories about athletes.
I do.
So
I'm
what?
naming names. I'm not gonna
So
name
did you
names.
really have you had like a bias against athletes? Like you just felt like you just be too much. Is that the main? Was that the number one reason you stayed away from when you were single?
I just wasn't interested.
Hmm.
I didn't catch it. It's almost like, I have white guys that try to talk to me, and I just be like, no, you can't, because I know what I would want. My expectation for
Damn.
I know what my expectation is for a partner, and I just know an athlete couldn't do it for me.
Mm.
I know a white person, a white man, and I'm
You
not
can't say you
saying.
can't say all athletes. Like you.
I know it's terrible. It's terrible, but the ones I met, I just didn't get that, and it's awful because I could have turned down some really viable people, but it's not. Don't let people think they're a whole bunch of athletes for athletes. It
No.
wasn't like that.
Uh,
But
yeah, she's making stuff up right now. But yeah, but you know what? But to your point though, I think that there is a kind of implicit understanding that happens when women marry NBA athletes.
or
And I and
NFL
or NFL,
mhm.
right? Mainly, I say more so NBA because they tend to have more money. Their careers last longer. NFL careers, I mean, they're short. Those guys in the league like 2 years,
Yeah, it's
and
brutal.
yeah,
And
Yeah, and the body damage they take
Yeah.
is ridiculous. Brain damage, body damage. I mean, I wouldn't want to be an NFL player.
If I could be queen of the world,
Mhm. Okay.
I would I
You
would
already are.
no, if I could be really queen of the world, I would abolish football. I'm
Okay.
sorry. I don't like I enjoy watching it and I get it, and
Mhm.
how exciting it is. But I always think about the players, those concussions, what that could do to them. I always think about like just a whole bunch of people running full force into each other. That can't be good.
Mm.
If there's one wish I could have, it's just football is just gone.
Okay.
Just gone off the face of the earth.
Okay.
Not
Well,
soccer football, but football.
okay. Well,
And I have my
me and the other
reasons.
100 million football fans are going to ignore that statement.
I mean,
I
it's not
love
like I won't
I like
watch
to
it.
watch it. I will watch a good football game any day of the week. But I can't watch a whole game. Like it takes.
You do not have
I can't sit
patience.
around and watch something for 3.5 hours like that. However, I watch YouTube shortens the game to where they're like 14 minutes. And that's what I love to watch. I can watch a good 14-minute game where they just give me the good stuff.
Sometimes you can't even get through that. Sometimes I
I
see
can
you fast forward.
That is so true. I totally do. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But if it's Ohio State or something like that, I can watch the whole game. But yeah. So here's the thing, right? So let's get back to Kobe and Gianna, though.
Mhm.
I want to ask you this question. So as a therapist, what would you? This is just something I'd been wanting to ask you. Is when you see this grief that his wife had to go through and this trial and everything else, what would you even say if Vanessa was your client and she's dealing with grief? Because a lot of us deal with grief, and it's just so.
Mhm.
I mean, it's like God's. Death is God's dirty trick. It's like that one thing we can't stop it, we can't fix it. We haven't, cured death. Like there are billionaires right now that are pouring all their money into finding ways to keep human beings from dying, right? And they're doing a really interesting job with this stuff. There's a lot of technology on this front. But how do you deal with, I mean, not just grief from losing somebody you love, but losing them unexpectedly in such a tragic way? Where do you even begin the process of healing if Vanessa's in your office talking about what happened to her husband?
You have got to have an empathetic listening ear
Mm,
because there's nothing you can do to bring the person back. And that's the reality that Vanessa Bryant has to accept eventually.
mm,
And it's not like she's 80 years old and her husband died. He died right when they were supposed to have this life together. So not only does she have to grieve her husband dying unexpectedly, but her daughter. Can you imagine that? I mean, her daughter dying unexpectedly. It's a complicated grief, and it's not a normal grief, so it can't be a normal process. I hope that she is seeing somebody on a regular basis, and that she just keeps having a listening ear and someone that can help her process the range of feelings that she's having.
mm,
And I'm sure she's feeling anger, she's feeling disappointed, she's feeling overwhelmed, she's feeling sad, she's feeling um, disturbed. She probably has issues sleeping at night. She probably has issues, all of the reminders around the room. And can you imagine you're a celebrity everywhere you go? Everybody knows who you are and what happened. They're
mm,
all looking at you like, oh, the very
mm,
first thing you think of when you hear her name is, oh my goodness. So I mean, how brave is it of her to have pressed charges and knowing that she'd have to live through this whole experience all over again?
mm,
That I get the sense that it's bigger than just her and Kobe and Gianna. I think that she's saying, you know what? This is a precedent. This shall not happen to anybody else. Those
mm,
pictures should not. So that's a way of her healing, by the way, and getting
mhm,
into acceptance is to think, you know what? Any other family that has to go through this, any other celebrity family that could ever go through this would know that they are not being violated repeatedly like I was, knowing that those pictures got around. She probably saw them.
mm.
Could you
Oh
imagine?
wow, you think she saw the picture?
I'm certain she did.
Whew. Well, um, yeah, I can see how this whole trial is part of the healing because I don't know about other people. I know that when I've gone through things like this, or especially if you feel like somebody you love went through something that was unfair. Like it's just unfair that this pilot. Remember that there was a whole conversation about the pilot
And the
not
weather.
making the good decision
Yeah.
about the weather and all that. So you're mad. You're like,
Yeah.
wait a minute. Not only did this happen unexpectedly, but this could have been prevented if people had done their damn job
Oh,
properly.
I'm certain she's suing them too.
Yeah, yeah,
So she's got to yet again go through this again. But
yeah,
it's got to be big. She's thinking it's bigger than me.
yeah. So
Mhm.
when you're pissed off like that,
Yeah.
I almost feel like doing this, pursuing this trial, you as you mentioned, it's healing.
Yeah.
I can see that because
It's a victory.
you're able to kind of take this energy and pour it into something. Like I'm gonna find
Meaningful.
I'm gonna find the person who caused this, even though they didn't really cause it, right? But I'm gonna find them and I'm gonna punch them in the face.
Mhm.
You know, and
Mhm.
I think it's great. I'm happy for her. I'm very
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah. And definitely, changes, hopefully changes will be made. I mean, you got to pay that kind of money. I bet you changes will be made in those fire department, police department, whoever. There are going to be some systems in place and some policies are going to be written
Mm,
because of this. And whatever with the helicopter company, you know, I don't know if they're still in business. I don't know. I wouldn't rent a helicopter from them, but
yeah, yeah.
perhaps there's some justice that'll be done because of that. It makes it feel better.
Yeah. Well, by the way, everybody, you're
Mhm.
listening to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. This is my wife, Dr. Alicia Watkins. I'm a finance professor. My wife is a professor of social work and a licensed therapist. If you'd like to learn more about what Dr. Alicia does, she sees couples and families and individuals and helps them through all kinds of stuff. If you're interested in taking a look at what she does, just go to coachingwithdralicia.com, or you can follow her on Instagram at coachingwithdralicia. And so, I think that, when you're talking about Kobe and Vanessa, two things that come to mind in terms that I want to ask you about, just as a therapist. One was about the grief piece, which we talked about, that there's a way to process your grief in a way where you're not crippled by it. You're better as a result of the therapy.
Oh, her whole outlook of the world has changed because of this. She's
Mm,
not the same person she was before. And
mm,
that's another grief.
mm,
I'm Vanessa Bryant. I was a wife and a mom. And part of that is gone now.
mm,
Can you imagine how lonely she feels?
mm.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
So she's different now. I bet she sees the world differently now.
Wow. That
And
is
she can't go back.
interesting.
It's the realization that you can never go back to who you were, early in before that January date.
Yeah, she can't. She
That
can't.
that Vanessa is gone, and then she has to get to the point where she can embrace who she is now or figure out who she is now. She's got to
Okay.
figure that out.
Okay. So in
Mhm.
addition to that, I'll also be curious to know how you would respond as a therapist, let's say 10, 15 years ago, when you had, the issue with not just, the infidelity in the marriage, but also the accusation, right? So you got a wife and a husband in your office and they're very famous. And the wife says, this guy, not only did he cheat on me, but he's been accused of this thing that I don't believe he did, but now we're dealing with all this fallout. And remember, if you remember, when that stuff happened in Colorado, Kobe,
He made it up to her, didn't he?
he bought her that big old ring. Remember that big old ring that he bought her, and he got her that big old ring and
Yeah,
did the press conference.
that's
His wife
beautiful.
was next to him,
Mhm.
and it was really interesting kind of watching that. And I think the most impressive thing Kobe ever accomplished in his life, in my view, was not winning championships and being a great player. It was the way he overcame that controversy
Came
and
back.
came back.
Mhm.
I don't think, a lot of people can't come back from that. And so, um, what would you have said to them back then when they were kind of going through the chaos from that experience?
Oh, well, I mean, he has to listen to all of the feelings that Vanessa had about his cheating, and processing her hurt and processing her pain and processing all of that. He's got to listen to that and be empathetic. I think empathy is so important, especially in instances like that. And then he has to make it right, and he has to make some sacrifices. I think and I'm not just saying this about men, because there are women who cheat too, and it is
Mm-hmm.
very hurtful for men, when their
Mm,
wives cheat too. So there's things you have to do to make it right, It's like, what do I have to do so that you can trust me again?
Okay.
It's asking those questions, and then it's being trustworthy. Your behavior from then on out would have to be trustworthy. You'd have to be totally transparent with everything. And that's hinged on the assumption that they have rededicated themselves to each other.
Okay.
Because I'm sure her commitment level probably wasn't there, and his commitment for sure for her isn't there, because to my understanding, maybe looking at the look on her face, she didn't know, she didn't say, "Oh yeah, you can sleep with house, you can go and sleep with whoever you want and it'll be fine." I'm sure she did not give him that green light. So their commitment has to be reestablished all over again. And it can happen. It does happen. It has happened.
Hmm.
And then he's got to follow through. It takes time to make these changes in your behavior, in who you are, in order to make it right to your wife or your spouse or whoever. And also, I think that it's important for the unfaithful partner to explore what was the reasons why you behaved in this way. Why did you feel the need to go outside your marriage? What was driving that? How were you feeling? What were you thinking? What was going on for you at that time? Because if you're not, and I do work with a lot of couples who struggle with infidelity like that, and I do find that if the unfaithful partner is not willing to dig in and process why they did that and what was driving them to do it, my experience is that they will do it again.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. But if I do get an unfaithful partner who says, "Yeah, I want to recommit myself to this relationship. I don't want to do this again. I want to explore what drove me to do this, and I don't know why I did it. I want to talk to somebody about that." Those are words I hear from someone who won't do it again.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, I wonder, what I really wonder, since we're just talking about Kobe and his greatness, and
Mhm.
I watched old clips of Kobe. I watched Kobe in high school and when he won the state championship, and just, what a great player he was back then. And it's interesting because, I think about how he had to have gone full circle with it, because a lot of times you'll see guys that, that they get around, with the ladies, and they have a lot of these experiences with women, and then they have daughters. I mean, God comes back and
Oh, gave him 4 daughters.
yeah, God comes back and just says, "Okay, I'm gonna make you see the other side." Yeah, God comes in and God is like, "Oh, okay, you think I'm playing with you? I'm going to really fuck with your head. I'm gonna give
Boys.
you not one daughter, not two, not I'm gonna give you 4 daughters, and now you're gonna have to spend a lot of time reflecting on how you treated somebody else's daughter." And I think it's torture. I really do. I think that for most men, I think it's just torture. It's like, oh my God, I got to spend my life now protecting my daughters from younger versions of myself. And it don't work. It's a crazy paradox.
Yeah.
Like you think about rapper T.I. I mean, I followed T.I. for many years. He was one of my favorite rappers, and I mean, if you listen to his early lyrics about, women and what he did with other men's daughters, it's hilarious that he's got daughters now, and he's expecting his daughter, like he's talking about checking her hymen to make sure, which that's a.
Oh, I had such big problems with that whole thing. But go ahead.
Well, I mean, I don't want to be checking nobody's hymen.
That's too intrusive.
I don't even. I don't think.
Somewhere.
You know what? I don't think T.I. meant it. I really don't think. And it's funny. I met him, and when I went to Ghana, and I met T.I. His daughter was there. His wife Tiny was there, and they seem like nice people. I don't know them very well like that, but I think that with the daughter, it's like I don't think he really checked her hymen. I think that he was joking, but it was
He
still.
seemed serious, Boyce.
It could have been. I don't know. What do y'all think? Y'all think he was joking? Y'all think
No,
he
I
was?
think he was serious.
Well,
And part of me is just like, have some peace. I mean, have some confidence in your parenting abilities. You
okay.
think that, this, mm. Oh, there they are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the beautiful daughter. I think what's her name, Deja or something? I can't remember. But either way though, it's kind of like it's just this cruel joke God plays on you. Because again, if you listen to his lyrics from 15 years ago, every other verse was about something interesting that happened between him and a woman, something that could be defined as disrespectful.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and then when you have but that's rappers, that's hip hop, right? Sexual irresponsibility is one of the cornerstones.
I'm so immune to it. I probably hear it all day long, every day, and I don't even know.
And that's
And
because
that's
you grew up on that ratchet stuff, AMG and all that.
AMG. Are you kidding me?
Let's not go there.
Come on. I
let-
can't believe I listen to that all the time.
well,
The whole album.
we were in high school. We just kind of did whatever. We didn't really think about the social implications of it. But I think that when you hit like maybe 30, 35, and you're not trying to be young and cool anymore. You're trying to actually be a parent, and then you're sort of looking at. And I imagine for a guy like him, he helped to create the world that he's living in. Right, he's an impactful kind of guy. I just think that there's a lot of reflection that has to happen, and what I encourage guys to do when they're younger is try to do that reflection when you're younger, as opposed to being like this old man with a lot of regrets. Think about these things. Think about how you treat other people. I think that is the general idea. I don't think you have to. I think you could be very successful in life without disrespecting other people.
Look at you.
That's what I believe. That's my 2 cents. I
Look
think I
at you
deserve some.
evolve. You're so different from how you were 15 years ago.
Oh, you're trying to be funny. Okay, okay, okay. I hear you. I hear you.
You're rapping about different things.
Well, by the way, everybody, you're listening to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and this is my wife, Dr. Alicia Watkins. And Dr. Alicia, she sees clients in her therapy practice. And so if you're interested in what she does for a living, to just check it out, feel free to go to coachingwithdralicia.com. And also, I want to remind everybody, don't forget that we have the All Black National Convention coming up. The All Black National Convention is going to be hosted in Charlotte, North Carolina, and it is the premier gathering of all Black people who really identify with being Black, who really want to build wealth in the community, who really want to see our people successful, who believe in Black family, who love Black women and Black men, who want to see the Black community succeed. And it's going to be in Charlotte, North Carolina, October 28th through the 30th. So if you'd like to attend, you can go to allblacknationalconvention.com. We're going to have a lot of special guests, including people like billionaire Mike Roberts. Dr. Alicia is going to do speed dating again, which was a huge hit last time. And it's just a blast. It's a big blast. So we hope that you'll join us at the convention. This is the seventh one. This is 100% Black owned, Black supported, Black created. And there are no corporate sponsors. This is not brought to you by McDonald's, Walmart, and none of that stuff. So if you'd like to be a vendor, if you have a Black owned business and you want to go to a place where people love to buy Black, you can go to abncvendors.com. Right there, there's the URL. And also, when you make your reservation, do not pay the full price for the hotel. The Sheraton is expensive. It's almost $300 a night. We have a special rate that you can get if you go ahead and lock in your hotel now. Just go to abnchotel.com. So abnchotel.com if you want to get your hotel, abncvendors.com if you want to be a vendor. And then if you just want to get a ticket, you can go to allblacknationalconvention.com. All right, so let's close out this conversation on Kobe. Any closing thoughts that we can kind of carry away with this that's going to make us into better people?
Into better people. Yeah, just have respect for people who've lost someone in a tragic way. Reach out to them, let them know that you're here for them. And losses come in many different forms. It could be, you could lose all sorts of you could lose people that you love, you could lose a job, you could lose, a relationship. You could lose out on quite a bit of things. And so it's important to be compassionate and support each other. I think a good support system is so important. Also, good self-care is important. You gotta, take care of yourself and look out for other people. And I love what you talked about respecting other people earlier. I think that's important. What do
Mhm.
you have to say?
I want to say it's sad. It's sad, but I'm actually quite inspired by
Hmm.
all of it. Right? Like, I think that Kobe um, was an inspirational guy in terms of a guy kind of saying, "Hey, I'm going to go in this thing called basketball, and I'm really going to make a name for myself." And I've watched how he went into the Lakers, which was Shaquille O'Neal's team at the time. He said, "I know it's your team, but we're gonna fight, and it's gonna be my team too." And I think that was why they parted ways, because I don't think Shaq, he wanted to be the solo alpha, and Kobe was an alpha, so they ended up going back and forth a lot. But they did great things together, right?
Compliment each
They
other.
really complimented each other.
They could have.
Yeah, they did, and they won championships together. But I think this is why, and remember Kobe and Shaq eventually became friends again. But before, they were kind of like almost they became mortal enemies.
Yeah,
to
no
some
love
extent.
lost between them.
Right. And here's the thing though. It's like this is why, when I talk to young men, I say, like, look, don't fall for this alpha male bullshit that you hear on the internet that says that you're supposed to sort of be the man, the solo man all by yourself and out there just kind of taking everything, for yourself and leaving the scraps to the rest of the world. There's something about being collaborative with other people that will lead to tremendous success. Look, if I'm great on my own and you're great on your own, then 2 + 2 isn't even 4. 2 + 2 becomes 7 because we have synergies. We can back each other up. There was
the sum is better than the parts.
Yes, there was almost no greater combination of basketball players that I've ever seen that matched Kobe and Shaq. They were right up there with Jordan.
Well, hold on.
Okay,
Hold on.
wait, all right, yes.
Hold on.
Okay.
Let's not go there.
Oh Lord.
Okay, because when Kobe started, I was thinking
Shots fired. Go ahead.
Okay, when Kobe started playing, I was like, he's trying to be like Michael Jordan. What's wrong with him? It took me a while to kind of warm up to him.
From a Chicago girl, right?
Yeah. So what is that?
She's a Chicago girl. So that's
like,
what
don't
that's
tell me
from.
that there's no better combination.
Okay, so you're right.
Please.
So I didn't say. Well, scratch that.
There's way better combination.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna say I don't know. I think Jordan and Pippen were great, but Kobe and Shaq were pretty unstoppable. Let's say that. And let me say this too.
Okay, Jordan and Pippen versus Shaq and Kobe. Come on.
Okay. I don't know. I'm not even gonna have that debate. What I will say is that to this day, there's been no player. I've seen teams stop Michael Jordan. I've seen that. I've never seen anybody able to stop Shaquille O'Neal. I've never seen anybody able to guard. He's the only player I've ever seen in the NBA who was completely unguardable because he was so strong and so big.
He was his own enemy.
And Kobe was amazing. Up. Right. So the point of all that though is to say that, guys can't fall for this myth that you gotta always be the man all the time. If you're the man, then find other men who are the men and other women who are on top of their game and create teamwork partnerships. Kevin Hart gave a great little interview where he was saying that, it hurts our community when we can't work together. He talked about how he works with Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, and they're both big mega stars. And he says, look, I don't care who gets the credit. I don't care. All I know is that when me and him work together, we all win. We all make money.
Oh, they're hilarious together.
Yeah, and they're better.
Great.
They're better as a team than they are trying to do their stuff individually, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's something that I wish Kobe and Shaq had understood, because sometimes as men, our egos get in the way. And you say, well, I'm the man, and you disrespected me, and that ain't right. It's like, man, come on, let this stuff go.
But there's a lot of ego in basketball. It's a lot of trash talking and, tempers are going everywhere. And but I think later on in their life, they seem to have gotten together and kind of rectified that situation.
Well, yeah, Shaq cried at Kobe's funeral. He spoke there.
Yeah,
him and Michael Jordan did. I thought that was beautiful, and I love it when guys mature.
Black men get together and do greatness.
Yeah, and when they put the past behind them, when they get past like whatever rivalry they used to have, and they start reflecting on it in an honest way. Like if you hear, like even old school, when you would hear George Foreman laugh about how devastated he was when Muhammad Ali beat him in Africa, but he was depressed, like he was sad when that happened. It wasn't called the Thriller in Manila. That was for Joe Frazier. I forget what they called it, but what was Rumble in the Jungle? I don't know.
That's not even.
Ali.
Go ahead.
Well, he's from Louisville like me, so that's my guy right there.
Yeah, you know what I also enjoy? I also enjoy seeing pictures of football players. They play on different teams, but off season, they like go on vacation together.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
love to see that. Draymond Green or whatever,
Mhm.
he got married recently. How cool was it to see all the basketball players on
Yeah.
different teams? They all came together to celebrate this
Yeah.
marriage. And so I
Oh, you
just
know who
love
else
to
was
see
there?
that. Who was there?
Our friend Jay Morrison and his wife,
They went
Ernestine.
to the
I saw a picture of Jay and Ernestine with Draymond and his wife.
Wow, that's cool. That is
Yeah.
so cool. But you like to see them because it tells me that they've gotten more mature. You know, they're not taking things personal and that they're just going to put it on the court. They're going to be competitors on the court, but outside of the game, it's just a game. You know, they're
Mhm.
still they have a lot in common. You know, they're friends with each other, so that's enjoyable.
Absolutely. All right.
It's mature.
So let's clap for Black unity.
Yeah,
When Black
yeah.
people work together, everybody's better off. Okay, all right, guys. Well, we're about to head out for the day. Alicia's got some. You got a long list of clients you have to see today. So,
No, I got this is my university day. So I got a lot of
okay.
university work to
So
do
she's got a
today.
lot of meetings and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So we're gonna
I
go ahead and
do.
end it. By the way, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe if you haven't done it yet. And also, don't forget if you want a free e-copy of my book, Financial Lovemaking, you can actually go to boyceandalicia.com. You can also get on Alicia's database of Black singles. She likes to match make. And if you want to learn more about her platform and her site, where she sees couples, things like that, feel free to go to coachingwithdralicia.com. The URL's on the screen. So everybody, please have a wonderful day. Hit the thumbs up button on your way out. We love you. God bless you. Thank you for listening. And we will talk to you soon. Take care now. Peace.
Bye, everybody.